Hello and welcome to a special and final edition of whatever this series is called. I don't really have a name for it. Hello, I am Sophie and welcome back to my channel and welcome to the final installment in this new wave of projects thing that I'm doing where I'm brainstorming a bunch of projects I've been thinking about for a while. This one is special edition because I'm at my parents' house, and also it's probably going to be fairly short because I already have a fair amount of this project planned out plot-wise. There's some world building I still need to do, but plot-wise, a lot of this has been figured out at the most basic level. This is my new commonplace / bullet journal. I made the executive decision to purchase this and use this as my planner because what I was using as my planner that has now turned into more of a journal, junk journal, diary, etc. now looks like this. And this was not feasible to carry around anymore. So this is still my keepsake junk journal scrapbook. I still add stuff to it, but it's not my everyday carry planner. I got this. I've only used a few pages in it so far, but it is within these pages that I have come up with a lot of what will be Project Luna, which this is the final project number 4 in this little series. Project Luna I have been describing as a superhero story, an anti-hero story. It's not so much an actual superhero or anti-hero story like a Marvel movie or something. More so that the main characters have abilities that are superpowers, and they are unique in these abilities. They are not common in this world. So that's basically all the superheroing they do that occurs in this project. From what I had initially thought this project would be, I have come away with something that's a lot smaller in scale in the terms of the stakes of the story, how wide sweeping the consequences would be if the characters don't succeed, stuff like that. It's become a lot more personal to the main characters, because before I did want the main characters to be fighting against this big corporation and they were gonna save their city from capitalism or whatever. And that does technically still happen. The big bad is still this corporation, this big corporation that's pretty much the government of this city as well. But the stakes have gone from save the city to simply saving themselves. And I think it makes more sense that way. I could not for the life of me come up with something that stuck for this project that involved something with big stakes like that. And once I had come up with this, it just clicked so much faster. So I was like, no, this is what it's meant to be. It's supposed to be these kids that are trying to save themselves from this big corporation that wants to control them. That is what I have on this piece of paper. I have some basic world building up top here. I have the main goal of the story, which is nice. I have a secondary goal that's more of a relationship and character to character goal, which is fun. And then I have these two groups of characters. Well, there's one group and then there's one solo character, and I have some details about both of them. Also something up here about the twist of the book and whatnot. A majority of the actual plot and the meat of the basic brainstorming is on that piece of paper. So in this video, however long it ends up being, it's not going to be as long as the other ones. I apologize. But we will be taking everything that I have in this notebook and putting it into a papyrus author doc and sort of just adding a little bit more to it. Some more world building, some more backstory. This is very much in the same essence as Project Glass, where everything is very closed in on itself. We see a lot of history, we see a lot of flashbacks, we'll see a lot of who the characters really are. So I do just want to build a little bit of that, mostly backstory and connections, how pretty much everything in these characters' lives has been connected since before they were even born, because they were all a part of this experiment thing. So let's just get started. Project Luna. This is gonna be fun. Once again, I'm walking away already. I'm not even walking away yet, I'm walking towards it. I already feel like this project is so much more than I ever thought it could be. I think I said this in Project Chosen, the Project Chosen video, where I was I liked the concept, the basic concept that I had come up with, but after brainstorming it, it actually feels like something that could be written. It feels more real, which is like, that's the goal, of course. But I don't know, that sense of like accomplishment, I guess, of feeling like, yeah, you can still create original new project ideas outside of like a trilogy is nice, okay? Anyways, this is just the intro. We don't need to get into all that. I'm going to pull up the project document and we're gonna start, not brainstorming, we're gonna start putting in all the information I already have. Here is everything that I had in the notebook. We have setting up here, very fun. We have the characters over here, main goal, second goal, and then just some various lore. Cute. Looking at this though, I did figure out a few extra things that I need to figure out now, which is nice. Let's talk about them. First of all, I switched up how the secondary goal goes. I pretty much flipped the main character's opinions on this other character because I think it'll be more fun. It'll be more fun with the personalities I have for these characters. So that was cool. That's gonna be something I need to explore because originally I had it going in the opposite direction from what it is now. So gonna have to work on that. Just get some more details about that, but that'll be fun. I also need to come up with more details about this corporation. Essentially, this corporation owns the identities of my main characters. My main characters were developed and born as an experiment by this corporation while they were being incubated, developed in like a hospital. The hospital ends up advocating for their rights because they are human. They are human. They just have been given these special abilities. The hospital ends up advocating for their rights and they end up not having to go further into the experimental stage with the corporation. But the thing is, this corporation maintains ownership of essentially who they are. And this is important because in this world, your identity like that, I'm sort of like comparing it to like Face ID or like a fingerprint scan, but your identity, which I need to specify, is what controls what you do in this world. It's very cyberpunk. It's kind of like cyberpunk, but not as dark. So it's very futuristic, it's very technology heavy, and everything in this city relies on confirming your identity before you can like do anything, before you can make a purchase, before you can get into certain areas, stuff like that. So because my three main characters don't have access to literally who they are, it's not only a moral thing, it's like, oh, I don't know who I am, like whatever, I don't know the truth, but it's also like they cannot exist outside of the hospital system because the hospital does everything for them because they can't do it for themselves. They literally cannot access anything. So I need to, one, figure out what this corporation even is, why they were doing this kind of experiment in the first place. Two, I guess I need to name the corporation. It needs a name, as does the city. We need a lot of names. But third, I need to figure out the hospital's stake in this. I need their like backstory. I need their history. It's slowly going to be revealed throughout the story, I feel, where we just get more context as to like what's actually happening. So I need to figure out what happened with the hospital while my main characters were still like growing into humans. Fourth major thing I really need to figure out is how the whole identity thing works, because it is used as a commodity. Does it have a physical form? Is it in like a card or something, like a pendant or like what? Especially because my main characters are trying to steal their identities back from this corporation. They need something tangible, something they can actually retrieve. So definitely need to figure that system out. Not only for that, but also because it literally runs the world we're about to be in. So what does the corporation actually do? What's the name of the corporation? What's the name of the city? What's the hospital doing? What did they actually do when they got the rights for these kids? And how does this whole identity thing work? 5 things. I should probably write that down before I forget that, but time to ruminate. I should probably start with the corporation, with the big corp, because they're kind of important as like the main antagonist of this book. But I'm excited. I'm so excited. It's like I said, literally like an hour ago, it's kind of like Project Glassy in like how contained it is, how self-contained it is, but like cyberpunk and like sci-fi and like futuristic instead of like small town and like horror. This is fun. When I started this whole series with these 4 projects, I was the least excited for this one. I can't lie, which is probably why it ended up as the last one, because I just couldn't generate ideas because I didn't have the motivation to. But now that I'm here, now that I figured this out, this is gonna be a lot of fun. This is gonna be fun. Okay, let's roll doll. Okay, I think I cooked. The think board is much more full now. It was a little bit of a slow start. It's been maybe like 45 minutes, an hour, but I got a lot of good information here. First of all, I figured out the history of the corporation. It starts out as like a really like small, like low-key, like trashy company that just like through like sheer luck, honestly, they end up becoming the most powerful group in the city. So that's fun. I think that's silly. It was like, these people were not ever meant to be in power, and yet here they are, controlling the entire city. I ended up naming that company, I ended up naming the city that they run, as well as the hospital that my main characters are more or less forced to live at. Naming took forever. I was staring at my computer, basically doing this the entire time, just trying to find something that sounded good. This is a story that technically is taking place on Earth. There's only humans. It should take place in a city that could exist on Earth. So I didn't want to get too crazy with the names, but I found one. We're good. I do like it, but it is of course subject to change. I'm really hoping I don't have to though, because that took forever to find. I also figured out the whole identity and identification thing. It's pretty basic. It is an implant. It is a thing that you get put in your body once you are 6, 7 years old. The first time you're going to kindergarten is also the first time you're getting this surgery done on you so you can like technically be autonomous. So that is that. That's great. It really fits, I think, the whole cyberpunk futuristic vibe though, and it sort of plays on kind of what we're going through right now, where it's like the balance between convenience and your privacy, your security, social media, the internet, etc., but brought into the physical world. So that is what it is going to be, and the whole idea is that in order to get the implant, you need confirmation that you're not stealing someone else's identity. I do need to come up with a system for that, of confirmation, because what my main characters will be trying to steal or to reclaim is that confirmation in order to get their chips, their implants, their whatever, and become real people. The only other things I really want to explore are the twist. You know, stories gotta have a twist. Also, I want to dive deeper into the characters because I want this book to be a very character-centric story. I don't only want it to be a story about them fighting the big bad corporation. I want there to be conflict between the main 3 characters as well, and the decisions they end up making when they all think they're aiming for the same goal, but they all take different routes to try and get to that goal. I'm scared for the character work because you guys know I suck at character work. It took 3 drafts to figure out the characters of Project Glass to the extent that like makes sense for the book, and if I want it on that level, it might also take 3 drafts. I'm hoping it doesn't. I'm hoping I've at least learned a couple lessons in character from writing Project Glass, but frankly, I'm scared. But I think that is all I'm going to be doing tonight. It is already 12:30 in the morning, so I should probably wrap things up, but so far, I am hype. I am hyped for this project. I know once I have more information about the characters and like what they end up trying to do and how that conflicts with everyone else's methods, I'm gonna be even more hype, because that's one of the most fun things to outline, is that kind of like core character conflict. But I do not have the brain capacity right now to think of deep character brainstorming, so we're gonna call it a night. I will see you guys tomorrow to hopefully wrap this up. Hello. I am gonna turn the air down because it's kind of loud. Currently in my car, I'm sure you can tell. I've just dropped my sister off at a dentist appointment that I need to pick her up from in about an hour. So I have an hour to work. And we're gonna work on Project Luna. I'm gonna go to a boba shop that, if you've seen some of my other videos before, you've seen this boba shop before. But we're gonna go there because it's like a block away, and I'm going to work until she is done. Hopefully I can get everything done in that time. It shouldn't take too long. I know I said earlier that there were two things I wanted to focus on. I can't remember what the second one was, but I know one was exploring the main characters a little bit more, figuring out their backstories, figuring out their motivations, figuring out their conflicts, etc. That is what I'm gonna focus on. If I find something else, which I probably will, I'll try to work on that too, but I have probably like 45 minutes to work on character. Joy. I'm so bad at working on character, but we're gonna make it work, okay? Let's go. Okay, and that is it for this video. It ended sort of abruptly. Also, please do not mind my hair. This is typically what I look like when I'm editing. Don't worry about it. This last clip that you just saw was taken literally hours before I went on a trip to California for like 4 days, 3 days, not 4 days. So this entire day was very hectic after what you saw, and then I went on the trip. And then I sort of just like lost control of this video specifically, but I did not lose control of Project Luna. I did actually end up finishing the brainstorming for that project, and I am technically in the outlining stage for that at this point. Also, sorry, I'm like getting over like the most mild cold I've ever had, so I'm a little congested and I sound a little silly. Here are the two boards. Here is the main one that has like all the world building and all like my basic ideas on it, and then here is the board that sort of connects all the characters together, gives us some context on character. This is so much fun. I'm so excited to dive deeper into the story because right now it's fairly basic. It's still pretty much in the brainstorming phase. I can't totally tell what I need to know until I really start outlining and I start to see the cracks in everything and what lines we're actually following and what have you. So it's still pretty vague at the moment, but of these 4 projects, I have actually started outlining, like straight up bullet point outlining. So I am starting to see that process of like following certain lines and figuring out what kind of things need to have more detail in them outside of the brainstorming I already did. Project Luna is not there yet. I have not totally started the outlining yet, besides like some basic plot points. But once it gets there, what I figured out should be very, very helpful. But anyways, that is it from me. Thanks so much for watching. Thanks for being here. Thanks for hanging out. How is your writing going? Are you back in school? I know school is coming up. I know it's coming up for me in like a week and a half by the time you're seeing this, so scared. But how's your writing going? How's life? How's everything? Let me know anything and everything in the comments. And hope to see you in the next one.